Hi guys, I wanted to make this video to show you how I deal with the dados and the inset of the parts. Um, this is not the only way to do it, but I want to show you how I do them, and it's been working just fine with me. So that's why I wanted to show you. I'm gonna hide these front parts, the doors and the drawer front, and I'm going to make a real close look over here. As you can see, there is three things that I want you to see over here. The data itself is bigger than the inset, so that's a good thing to have. The reason is you need to have some space for the round over of the bit. If you cut this on the CNC router, the bit is not going to give you those sharp corners, inside corners. It will just give you sharp corners on the outside corners, not those inside corners. So a way to deal with this is to make this apart. So if I have this corner right over here, I'm going to have a problem when I'm assembling this, because I'm going to have some round cuts over here that they won't fit together. So that's why I do this. I'm going to show you how to do this. If you can see over here, this is the second thing I wanted to show you. I use a little tolerance. This is a very close zoom, because this is 2/10 of an inch, 0.02 of an inch, what we have over here. And I have this on the bottom and on the upper side also. This is the upper side. I mean the bottom of the part. Let me show it to you. I'm gonna close to the bottom also. You can see it over there again. I have 2/10 of an inch on each part, up and down. That way, it's crucial to have the right thickness of the material. It's not 7/4 of an inch plywood. It's not 7/4 of an inch. You know that. Most of the time they are made by millimeters, so maybe it is 18 millimeters or something like that. But if you are dealing with the CNC router, you have to make sure you get the right thickness of the material to deal with these kind of things. So even if you have the right thickness of the material, you need some space, some tolerance, in order to those inset to work good on those dados. So you want to have, the third things I wanted to show you is that you want to have the dado. You don't want to have the dado all the way to the edge of the part. No, you don't want to have that. You want to have the dado not close to the edge. I mean close to the edge, but not right over to the edge, because it's not gonna look okay. And that way those are gonna be concealed, so the customer maybe never is going to notice this. And I'm gonna show you right now how do I do that. What I do is I'm gonna show you I set all of this on the sketch. So I'm going to edit the left panel sketch, the sketch that I use to build all those components. So let me hit edit over here, and what you have over here is the sketch with all the parameters that are necessary to build these little cabinets. So I'm going to make a close-up over here. And this one, which is the one I use to make that drawer division that you saw over there before. So this one, these three are the one used to extrude the drawer division. But to make the data, you use this one, which is bigger. This is another rectangle. You use these three portions. This is another rectangle that I did just over the other one. This you need to use these three. The one on the bottom and the one on the upper side. So how do we get here? So you just make this rectangle of the side that you need the part. In this case, there is a drawer division. As you can see over here, I have a parametric dimension over here, which is 5 inches. And this is called drawer division width, which is already set on the parameters list. And I have over here the thickness of the material on this one. Cabinet material thickness. This is another parameter that you set up on the parameters list. That is used to construct this bigger rectangle, which is going to be the actual drawer division. And I have this one constrained to this line, which is the front of the cabinet, because I don't want to have the drawer division anywhere else. I want to have it right over to the front. But what can change is the distance from the upper side. That's why I have this dimension over here, which is 7 inches, and it's called drawer height. So if you change the drawer height to 4 inches, it just will update over here automatically. Now that we have that, we need to construct another rectangle. When you do that, try to make it without constraining it to anywhere. I'm gonna make another one on top of this. You just try to make this, you see, it's not constrained to anyone, to any other lines. I'm gonna let it go over here. Okay. Then when you have that, you just add a dimension like this one. This is the one I was talking to you, the air gap. I call it air gap. I'm gonna show you. If I click over here, it's called air gap, this parameter. That's the name I set up. So I have an air gap of 2/10 of an inch on the upper side and on the downside. That will make it a bigger dado, because that's the rectangle that I'm going to use to make the dado. So now that you have those, if you put those dimensions from here to here, and another one from here to here, which is these two, then you're going to be okay. Then you set another couple of dimensions, which is another parameter that you said before, which is the distance of the dado from the edges. This one over here. As you can see, I call it dado distance from edges. It's set to 1 inch, and I put this dimension over here and one on the back also. And that will update this dimension of this little rectangle that I did over. I'm going to delete this because I don't need it. I just was trying to show you. And that's the way I do the profile to get the data done. So let me show you how do I get the data. let me just finish over here this sketch. And when you want to make the data, you just suppose you already have this left panel component already done. So you just hide it for a second, and you show up the sketch of the left panel, which is this one, the first one we did when I was making this cabinet. As you can see over there, I'm going to hide this one also, the drawer division. That way I will work a little bit easier. So you want to make a dado over here on the left panel, which is already made. What you can do is over here is make an extrude command. You hit over here, click, and you choose the profile, which is this one in the middle, and you have to close in to choose this one and this one. As you can see, I have a little rectangle which is narrower than the actual drawer division, but it's thicker. So that way you choose the right side for the dado. I'm going to cancel over here. What I'm going to do now is go to the actual feature where I did this. I'm going to hide this for a second. I'm going to show the left panel. I'm going to select this data, as you can see over here. Let me choose. When I click over here, I'm going to see on the timeline over here on the bottom when I set up this feature. I'm going to right click it, and I'm going to hit edit feature. Okay, that way I could edit anything over here. So let's see how I do it. The first thing is, you see that I have 3 profiles, which is the big rectangle plus the 2 little, the thinner parts on the upper and on the bottom side. That's why it says 3 over here. So now I want to start this new feature from the inside of this panel. So if I'm starting from the inside, I have to put this offset, which is the cabinet material thickness. This left side panel has the cabinet material thickness. So that's why I put over here the starting plane of this feature. It's going to be offset from the sketch, which is on the back right here, and I'm going to put over here this parameter, which is already set, cabinet material thickness, this one over here. Then I'm going to put the distance which I want this to cut, because I'm cutting over here. As you can see, the operation on the bottom is going to be cut. And the cut is going to be another parameter which is already set, and I call it dado depth. As you can see over here, dado depth. And I know it's set to 5/16 of an inch, so it's a little bit over 1/4 of an inch. You have to remember that you have to put over here a minus, which is going to go back, because we are starting from this side of the left side panel, because that we put over here the material thickness, which is this side, because we wanted to go backwards. So you put over here the minus on the dado depth. If it happens to be off and you hit over here, it says no target body found to cut or intersect, because the operation is not seeing any panel, any object to be cut, any component to be cut, a body. So that's why it has to be on. And that's the way to do that. You hit OK over here, and you have that. The beauty of this is if you change any parameters, it will update automatically over here. The distance, the depth, anything you like. So now I'm going to show you how do I do the insets. After I do the extrude of the part, in this case it was a drawer division. I call it drawer division, and I look for it right now. This one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate this. So I'm looking only to this part. How do I came to have this? As you can see over here, those are little insets. Let me show you how do I do that. As you can see over here, I have some sketches over here. One of them is doors. So I know it's named doors. It's not that one. Maybe it's this one, the 3 of the 4. So let me check which one it is. Oh, see, it's this one, the number 3. That's why it's good to name them in case you have to come back. So it's a sketch number 3. I'm gonna hit over here edit, and I see that I just have 2 simple lines. Constraint on this side and to the downside. You see the black dots? That is because they are constrained to the thickness of this material, of this component. So if I make them wider, thicker, it will update these lines also. What I do after making these 2 lines anywhere I like, I put these dimensions. And I'm going to click over here so you could see better what I'm putting over here. I put the same one that we use for the dado. As you can see over here, I put dado distance from the edges plus the cutter diameter divided by 2, which is the radio actually of the diameter of the cutter. Cutter diameter, which is, I know I'm going to use a 1/4 of an inch cutter, so I set up that parameter, and I'm dividing this by 2, which is going to be the radio of that cutter. So I'm adding that distance over here, because I want to have that cut away from my dado. So this one is going to be a little bit shorter than the dado, the inset portion of this object. I'm doing the same thing on the front. As you can see, they are the same dimensions because I just put the same numbers. When you do that, you just finish a sketch and you do and you use the extrude command with some difference. I'm going to check over here. I see that I made this one with this one. You know what I did? I just click over here to see the timeline over here on the bottom. So I see it clicks over here. So this one have to be the one that I use. You see that I just click it and it's showing that color over there. Is because that's the feature that did that inset. So I'm going to hit over here edit feature so you could see what I did. And this is the simple one. You just select the center of this sketch and you hit join. You choose join over here, and the distance is another parameter which is called inset. In this case, you call it whatever you like. I like to call it inset, which I know is 1/4 of an inch, and it's going to start from the profile plane, so it's not gonna, we not need to use any offset or anything like that. We are just starting from this plane, which is the profile plane, and it's gonna join this distance, which is the inset parameter, and is, as you can see over here, if I click, 1/4 of an inch. If I click over here on the right, you see the value, the actual value. Click it back, you hit OK over here, and that's how you create that. And the way I do it, there is another way to do this, making a mirror with the midplane, but I just do it this way. I create another sketch over here and do the same thing and create this inset on this side of the part also. What happens if you don't want to use inset? I mean, you don't want to use dado, you don't want to use inset, and you have all this. Well, if you have a parametric design, you just go over here in inset, over here. I'm going to put, it's 1/4 of an inch right now. I'm going to put 0.01. You can even cut this, and you don't have it. You won't notice any difference on the cut. It's gonna be, it's just 1/10 of an inch, so you could cut this without any problem whatsoever, and you won't have any depth. That you could do the same with the dados. Let me show you. I'm gonna hit back over here. I'm gonna check the inset. Let me put it back to 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Then you remember that I isolated this part. I'm gonna get it back, and I'm going to isolate this one now. You're gonna see what happens if I just, let me try to put 0 on the data there. I think I'm gonna have some errors. Let me see. You see, there is an error over here. That's an extrude. It's not working. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna put over here just some really small number. That's gonna be okay. There is another way to come around this. When you are manufacturing, when you are doing the tool paths, you just don't choose the dados. If you don't choose them when you are doing the tool path, even if it is in the part, you won't cut it. So that way I don't have any dado. You could delete that profile if you like, or delete the feature, but I want to keep it, so I just leave it with a small number. Or I could make another copy of this cabinet without dados and without any insets. So let me get back over here and put these dados with the right number, the number that I like. So that's the way I do this. I wanted to show you this because this is a way I do this, and there is people who might do this different. It should be a lot of different ways to do this, but that's how I do it. If you like the video, if you have any questions, if you have any requirements of how do I do anything about cabinets, just let me know in the comments. Hit like if you like this video. I will appreciate that. This is a new channel. I'm just starting with this, and I want to show you. I want to build a big cabinet library, so this one could be reused and reused. So help me out with this. Thank you very much.